Hi, I'm Robin Schultz with the Hoover channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you'll always know when we have a new video coming up.
All right, good. Welcome to the delayed budget hearings. They were starting at 12:47. What we're here to do today is hear from our departments. Each department will get 5 minutes to give all their budget needs for next year. As a council, we're not going to ask any questions. You're welcome to take notes in your books, and then you'll have plenty of time between now and the time the budget's approved to ask questions of department heads, of the mayor, of anyone you need to. And with that, I'll turn it over to Jennifer, and after she speaks for these 10 minutes, we'll get started with the 5-minute intervals.
Hey, everybody. Okay, this is just to kind of give everybody who's got one of these manual binders kind of an intro of how to use this so that you have an idea of how it's organized. In the front of your binder, you've got citywide requests, okay? So the first tabs, all requests by department, salaries and benefits, projected revenue, debt and rebates. All of that relates to citywide stuff, okay? So that first section, all requests by department, that is going to give you all of the additional operating requests for the entire city, okay? And all of the one-time capital requests for the entire city. On the last page, there's a summary of those totals by department, okay, of that tab. Salaries and benefits, that's something I hope to discuss with council as a sidebar, but a pretty robust forecast of what's going to happen with our salary and benefits for next year. There are new position requests and existing position requests, and you will notice that city administration and HR have noted some of the things that they would like to delay, some of the things that they would like to recommend, okay? But these 2 pages under salaries and benefits before the first blue dividers show you all of the position requests and all the upgrades for the entire city, okay? You go past your first blue little section, that's where you start seeing the projections that were done, okay? And we can save that for later. Next blue tab, before you get to projected revenue, shows you the actual approved positions, okay, that are budgeted that no one currently is sitting in. It's the very last page of that part, okay? I think that's a helpful thing as you're making decisions for new positions to know what else has already been approved that's out there, okay? All right. So if I was going to use this budget and I were you and you're trying to take notes, I think, maybe you're not asking my advice, but I'm going to give it to you. I'd pull out these summary pages and start making notes on these, okay? And then everything from administrator back is going to be each department's request, okay? For each of the departments, they're in alphabetical order. The very first page, let's pick just building inspections, for instance, okay? Go to the building inspections tab. You'll see a summary page that shows the approved budget that they're starting with, okay, from the prior year, plus the additional operating asks and any one-time capital. And if this department had personnel requests, you would also see that here, okay? That is followed by a printout from Munis that shows a breakdown of that department's budget for this year. So for, again, buildings inspections, $152,429 was the total amount of their operating budget. You can see by line item how that was allocated, okay? So several pages of that. And then when you get past the pages with the blue lines, you will see payroll information, okay, for salary and benefits. And then you will see some historical information that gives you a 3-year look back by type of expenditure from 2023, what the budget was, what actual was, all the way to 2025, okay? And just know that 2025 is a partial year, it's not complete, okay? So we're still in the middle of 25. You've got that for every department, okay? And so from administrator tab all the way to the back, those are all your departments. We have, this binder went through a rigorous quality control. You can ask anybody last Friday who was getting dinged by me with texts and bothered. We had the departments for quality control look to make sure that everything that we had met about and talked about up to that date was included on their summaries, because we didn't want to have. So everything that's been asked for, okay, are included on those summaries. There are some departments, and this is going to be an extended budget timeline, right, because we're not going to have an approved budget for a while, I would imagine. Needs may change. We have asked departments if there's something that's changed since you submitted your request. They're bringing sheets of paper to talk to you about, hey, this is not in your packet, okay? That's the most important thing. Shouldn't be a ton of changes, but you will have a few departments who will have changes to make, all right? So that's really all I wanted to say as a matter. Are there questions just about organization of the binder or anything like that? For the folks in the crowd, the digital binder is on our website. It is a PDF document that has bookmarks, so you can go to the individual tabs. So you won't have a binder, physical binder like this, but you can open up the bookmarks and easily navigate to the same packets that the people are using today in hard copy. Any questions? Save 4 minutes.
All right, let's move on to our first group. If we're going alphabetical, it's administration.
So the binders are in alphabetical order by department. The schedule will tell you what department is next. So this one's mayor's office. Do you have a copy of the schedule? You do?
I do not.
Oh, I don't have the timer.
Oh, you don't? Okay. Okay. This is the mayor's budget. There are no capital requests, only operating. And the largest of our operating expenses is the Birmingham Jefferson County Transit Authority, their fees for bus service. Consultant fees, which I haven't met with Mayor-elect Durz's, but that may change. And the city's professional memberships, which consist of the Big Ten Mayors Association, Shelby and Jefferson County Mayors Association. We're asking for additional $3,700, and that is for our public information officer to become a member of the City County Communications and Marketing Association and to be able to attend their annual conference. So it's pretty simple. Do y'all have any questions? Good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Who is up next?
I'm up next.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so I've asked for the mandatory training for all city council members as required by Alabama state law, starting this term. All city council members must complete approved municipal government training. This is a compliance item, and funds will need to be allocated to cover the associated costs, including registration, travel, lodging if necessary, and the training materials. So I put that into the budget. I've also asked for an adjustment in compensation for the lead prosecutor to increase the salary from $6,250 per month to $7,250 per month. This increase is because we have more court dates now. On average, we have court 4 days a week. And so this is to try to offset that. Also to give compensation for our assistant prosecutor to set at $2,500 monthly. Right now, our assistant does not get paid through the city, and this is to set that up where the city actually pays our assistant prosecutor.
That's it?
Y'all have any questions on that?
All right, who is next? Human Resources. Come on down.
Good afternoon. The Human Resources does not have any new requests for 2026. We're just, of course, asking for our ongoing regular, budget needs that we had last year, and which includes like pre-employment physicals, evaluations, testing, things of that nature. The only HR request that we had was software for evaluation that will be helpful for some departments, as well as some licensing agreements that will help us within our department. And that is reflective in the IT's budget. Okay.
All right, thank you. Building inspections is next.
Can we hold for a second time, make a note before we move to the next one? Can we flying through it, let me hold for just 1 second, so I can make sure my notes before they talk to me. No, we fine, no, we fine.
Okay, on the next, okay, sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Afternoon, council-elect, mayor-elect. I think in the 5 previous years I've been up here, I have not used a total of 5 minutes. Not this time. Building inspection has needs. So we have a few projects. One little capital project where we're trying to take old building plans of city buildings and have them digitalized. We have a room we affectionately refer to as a dungeon, PSC, and we're running out of space there. And then the other items, the biggest item is going to be our books and periodicals, which next year is we enter into a new code change, which we will adopt in 2027, but we will start next summer. And that's a big expense, and this will be about half of it, that increase we got right there. So, other items pretty small. And a little caveat, building inspections so far this year has brought in over $4.9 million to our fund, so hey, we're worth it. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Do you need, you're good, okay. All right. Moving to, next, the City Administrator, Operations, Tourism, and Healthcare Authority. I'm sorry, Finance. But you just got to talk, so.
Y'all take a white page and a gray page. You need both of those. Okay, y'all. So there are 3 orgs in finance, one for revenue, one for budgeting, and one for just finance that are in that binder. I'm not requesting any additional one-time amounts to the operating budget. The only ask that I have is on the second page of the departmental binder. It has to do with positions, and it's probably not a surprise to you. The 2 org charts that I passed out to you, the white one represents the current organizational structure as it is, and the one with the gray background reflects the proposed changes that I'm about to talk to you about. As you are aware, there were 5, y'all have to? There were 5 recommended new positions as a result of the Kroll review. And at the end of that, at the beginning of last budget year, you approved 4 positions, and there was a financial analyst position, which was the 5th one, that did not get approved. And I am recommending that we take 2 positions that are not filled right now on purpose, I have not filled them, okay? One is just a grade 10 accountant, and the other one is the senior financial analyst, which was previously occupied by Melissa Woods when she was in her provisional status. So that role did have somebody sitting in it for a time, but it does not now. So the recommendation is to take both of those positions and upgrade them, okay? The accountant to the financial analyst and the senior financial analyst to a department head level person. The explanation for this is that, as you will remember, the finance department used to have 4 department heads in it before there was a combination of roles. There presently is 1. There are department level activities that need to be tended to and are in fact being tended to now. So my recommendation is that the division director position that is for purchasing, that individual be upgraded to finance director of operations. And that person would lead the procurement group in addition to the revenue manager and that whole team. So you'll notice that's up in, on the gray sheet, that's up in orange, okay? And then the other department head would be the upgrade from the senior financial analyst, okay? Would represent a 2-grade upgrade. The other upgrade that is on here is to upgrade one of our payroll specialists to a senior payroll specialist. As you know, a tremendous amount of effort and success happened in the payroll department. And this individual has led the payroll team and trained others. And this is a fully functioning, on all cylinders group that I'm very proud of, with no issues, who's doing reconciliations, and we don't have problems with the 941s or the W-2s. So all of those things together, okay, all of the cost of all of those requests is estimated with benefits an additional $84,000. Okay, so that's my recommendation. I know I'm leaving, and somebody else is going to be in this role, and they will need to buy into this, but I want to put that bug in your ear because I do believe that the finance department is big enough to have like somebody leading the day-to-day operations over it and making sure the departments are served. And Claire Hamilton does a great job at that, and she's functioning at that level now, okay? And then to have another department head who is the finance director of accounting, who would be CPA required and would be a heir apparent for whoever. It would be a transition plan for the next CFO. So there'd be somebody being trained, waiting in the wings. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to city administrator.
All right, good afternoon. We'll start with the budget for the administrator's office, which is my office, and basically we reduced that by $5,400. Just if you look at the historical data there, we continue to drop that. Some of that is based on past studies that were done and other consultants that were used. I did keep a portion of money there in anticipation of Performing Arts Center related expenses that may be consultants or focus groups or whatever that may be. And so basically, when you see management service consultants of $85,000, I'm keeping that as to just kind of handle that. Performing Arts Center seems to be the one area that will probably use some funds. Everything else has been pretty basic. When you flip over, and the main thing in the historical data for administrator, you'll see that that's continuing to decline. There's really not a lot of needs. No capital needs and no one-time purchases. The next page is the administrator operations. This is Blake Miller's department for Chief Operations Officer. Ms. Claire put that here for you guys, so that way I can kind of take care of that one as well. Basically, not much change, $149,075 operating expenses, which is very basic as compared to what they've had in the past. A lot of that is just money set for engineers, architects, land services. That's $30,000 roughly. And you can see basic expenses that come from the COO. This calculation includes currently Blake Miller, Mindy, and Miss Dina in administration. So this is where the calculation is, where you're at, Mindy, if you're wondering. So on this, for them continuing to drop in basic needs of operations, no one-time purchases and no capital needs for Blake's immediate group. I'm going to shift to the Healthcare Authority and then let Jamie tell you a little bit about marketing and tourism. With the Healthcare Authority, this is continuing to drop as the Healthcare Authority itself is really close, as Mr. Paquette, Chairman Paquette mentioned the other night, with securing an operator for the ASC. So we have a tight deadline on that. So kept some funds here just for any expenses related to this first year of getting that off the ground. So we've got $100,000 sitting aside. Don't know that we're going to use that, but really have no idea what expenses may lie with our side of it for the Healthcare Authority. The second thing, to keep that balance, the total was $150,000. I kept $40,000 as just if there is some consulting needed. Don't know that we need that. But once again, this is unknown territory as we move into having an actual operator. And the last was requested by Mr. Paquette, Chairman Paquette, as to keeping some funds for the authority itself, should they need to do anything such as travel, visit, do anything related to their operations. So the total for them is $150,000 as we move into this area. Any questions of those? And I want to let Jamie take tourism and marketing for a second. Okay.
Afternoon, Council. Being the first ever citywide marketing coordinator and not even being here a year, my initiative since day one has always been and always will be is to tell the story. The places, the people, the events, the personalities that make the city great. And in this first year, there were two approaches that I took. The first one was be a sponge. Observe close distance and far away of what's working for us and what's not working for us when it comes to our marketing promotion across all departments. And the second was building a foundation to have a fully functional, self-sufficient, comprehensive, centralized marketing department that's fully equipped for content creation and for all marketing efforts. And through these experiences and through these insights, I was able to also implement some new tactics. Some examples of this would be producing the Hoover's first ever citywide annual report. It's a digital annual report. There's actually a business card in there that you can scan and look over, and it covers from top to bottom what's been happening in the city. The second part was creating a digital advertising footprint to expand on the city's online presence. And a last example would be developing new ways to showcase those people, places, and events. An example of that is a YouTube video series called Community Kaleidoscope. I've got the tools in my tool belt. I'm constantly and consistently trying to work on systems and processes to be able to tell that story better. So on the left side, you're going to see a marketing performance report of what my story's been the past 9.5 months, where I've been. And on the right side is where I'm going. And it's a 25-26 marketing plan. And it's simply a bridge to get us to a point where we need to have a longer-term marketing plan, but that is in respect to whatever is the collective and strategic vision of the new administration. And with that, it's also respectful to know that that plan, I'm more than willing and happy to adapt and be flexible in respect to the new administration. But within that, we're taking that next step, working with tremendous PIOs, events team, and other people who have their hands in marketing promotion across the city to work on becoming more cohesive and strategic across all departments. So we can expand our reach, we can be able to have a more consistent messaging, and to enhance our brand overall. So with that being said, I humbly come before you with just a simple request of an additional just above 5% increase in the budget this year. And with that is going to allow me to be able to diversify our marketing and advertising tactics so that we can better support city events, services, recruitment efforts, tourism initiatives, and economic development. In short, this budget helps us go from building a foundation to that next step of truly maximizing our marketing efforts. And as great as it is to say that I want to tell the story of Hoover, I always want to tell the story better. If you have any questions, fire away.
Add one. What does City of Hoover spend in terms of tourism and marketing right now?
This past year, our budget was at $117,000. In that first year, because we were still building a foundation, we did not cover the entire budget as there was a lot that we needed to build upon and be smart about. So this increase would go from 117 to 123,000.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
And one key thing there, with more funding, we can always do more. We just need some strategic direction as to what we want to accomplish with that. Any other questions for administration?
All right, thank you. We'll move now to risk management. Come on down.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So today I prepared a handout. It's a summary of my budget requests for this upcoming year. And you will see that I have three funds. I have my risk management department operating funds, our workers' compensation program funds, and my property and casualty program funds. On page 4, you can see my overall department budget request. The chart on this page, I'm a very visual person, so I did a pie chart. I think that helps tell a story, especially when you're talking about a lot of numbers. And so the chart on this page does represent the percentages of my budget and where those funds go. And you can see the largest percentage there is the property and casualty insurance fund. On page 5, you will see my operating budget. This year, I am requesting an additional $5,000 to implement a new driver training system. This program is called the Smith System, and it's a part of my overall effort to improve driver safety training. It's a program that provides classroom instruction as well as hands-on driver training. And companies that use this program include FedEx, J.B. Hunt, AT&T. And my goal with this program is to help work with departments to develop a driver training program just for each department. It would be different with each department depending on what their needs are. On page 7, you will see my workers' compensation insurance program. This chart illustrates how 79% of that budget goes to medical benefits for our city employees. This year, I am requesting an additional $141,500, which will help offset rising medical costs. And, you know, each year it's a projection based on our 5-year last history. On the next page, you will see our property and casualty insurance program. This program pays for all expenses related to automobile claims, general liability claims, property claims, and risk management's portion of legal expenses. Each year, again, I try to look at past history to dictate what I think we will have in expenses. This year, I am requesting an additional $351,000 to cover that, and you will see on that chart that this year, currently, I am over budget a bit, so I'm hoping to cover that with increased funding for next year. Finally, I want to close with my request for an add to staff. You may recall last year, I did request a new position for a health and safety officer. You know, our departments, our larger departments have training divisions, but not all of our departments do. And I truly believe that a position dedicated fully to safety awareness will help us and in turn should reduce expenses and help the safety of our employees. You know, each day when I leave for work, I get in my car, I raise the garage door, and I back out of the garage and drive to work. My thoughts go to the events of the day and the meetings that I'm going to have, but somewhere along that way, I start to think, you know what? did I close the garage door? I'm not sure sometimes because my thoughts are about the upcoming day. So I will turn around and go home, and 100% of the time I did. I closed that garage door. This is an example of something that's become second nature. And that's what I hope for our employees with safety. I want safety to become second nature. And I believe with these resources and an add to staff, we can help push that and make safety a second nature for all employees. So I need your help with that, and I need your support. Do you have any questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Debbie's group does a really great job of trying to forecast what they think our actual claims are going to be. And so when she asks for a budget increase, she's doing that based on a very thorough analysis of what the real expenditures out of those internal service funds have been. So when you approve a budget for workers' comp and for property and casualty, it is that budget that we use to allocate dollars from the general fund to fund those internal service funds, because it's based on a reasonable estimate. So one of the things about saying, okay, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do what Debbie says. She thinks it's going to be that, but I don't think it's going to be. So we don't want to do that. Well, then you end up with internal service funds that are underfunded. And as y'all know, in 2023, we had a pretty big bailout of property and casualty because of some cost overruns for the last 2 or 3 years. And so you try to do a great job with your estimate, but estimates are not perfect. That's why they're called estimates. But I just wanted to make that point, that Debbie's estimates that she's asking for those funds are factually based, informed by data. And if I was going to be here, I would recommend that, you approve them outright. She's pretty on the money this year. Sometimes you just can't always forecast the kind of claims you're going to have, but that's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Thank you, Jennifer.
All right,
Thank
next
you.
up is economic development and Riverwalk.
I won't need the 10 minutes, but that's, hello to all you beautiful people. I'm going to be talking to you guys about economic development and Riverwalk. So for economic development, we will have a budget decrease of $73,000 due to not having any upcoming studies compared to the past 2 fiscal years. We will also do an increase in the travel budget. They'll still keep us under budget for travel expenses for the CDA, DRA, and IDB. So that way they can go with us to other communities to see new developments and redevelopments. This was a request by Councilman Murphy. So other than that, there's no big changes within the economic development budget. And then for Riverwalk, we will see a decrease of $655,000 due to the developer incentive scale decreasing year over year. And we will also see a reimbursement of 2/3 of the cleaning cost, which currently sits at $48,000. And so 2/3 of that will be getting reimbursed to us from Aldor.
May I
questions?
interject again?
Your mic's off, yeah.
Sorry. The Riverwalk thing is under a different tab. So if you're looking for that, it's a separate tab that says Riverwalk. And as he said, the developer incentive slid down from 3 to 2.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the main reason for the difference in the budget.
Okay. Anything
que-
further?
No, that is it. Any questions for me?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, city planning. Almost caught up.
Good afternoon. For the most part, our operating is pretty stable with where we were in the last fiscal year. We do have a couple of increases, a little over $1,000 for credit card machine service fees, so we can take payment by that method. The next three items that you see requested as increases for $5,100, $5,500, and roughly $500 respectively are for additional training, travel, and for credit maintenance, continuing education, and professional fees related to the new GIS manager position that we have. Mr. Presley, our GIS manager, came on board 6 months ago, so those items were not accounted for in the last budget. The next item, we have an additional $4,000 for sign right-of-way maintenance program. The welcome signage and the wayfinding signage falls under the Planning and Zoning Department. Came over with our landscape architect when we had a reorganization several years ago. That $4,000 puts us in line with where we were in fiscal 2024. We were able to finish the wayfinding sign replacement and maintenance program here on the municipal campus, but we do have other welcome signs and wayfinding signs across the community and our gateways that we need to refurbish and replace. So we'd like to be back in line with where we were in fiscal 2024. The next item is a $20,000 request for trail identification and construction and design. The first year that we had this appropriation was last year, the fiscal year we're coming out of. And the council decided to appropriate those funds in order to help us bring to fruition the plans that were generated as part of the approved Park and Rec Master Plan a couple of years ago. And I am happy to announce that your appropriation for fiscal 25, we are about to conclude construction on an additional segment of trail in River Chase, adjacent to the loop that is next to River Chase Elementary School. It's going to be a 2/3 of a mile segment. And I think you guys will be really proud once we get that open to the public and able to take a look at some of the beautiful scenery and nature that you get to enjoy along that stretch. Numerous views of the Cahaba and going through some old growth forest back there on property that the city has owned for quite some time, but just never utilized. So we would like to continue to offer services like that and be able to develop more experiences like that. That brings me to the end of the operating requests. We do have some one-time items, capital requests. The first is $12,000 for matching funds, an Apple study grant to look at feasibility of trails within the River Chase Office Park. This is one that was on in the budget for fiscal 2025. However, we as an organization can only apply for one in each cycle, and we've currently been operating with an Apple study grant through the engineering department for pedestrian safety improvements on Lorna Road. We have not closed that project out yet, so we're kicking this request from this fiscal year that we're closing out to the next fiscal year. It's our hope that during fiscal 26, we can do that feasibility study in River Chase once the engineering department closes out their Apple study. The next one's $150,000 for comprehensive plan update. We've just eclipsed the 5-year mark from the last amendment to the comprehensive plan. The original plan was adopted in 2019, and we had a substantial amendment to that in 2020. A lot has happened since that amendment was approved, and we've been operating from that version of the comp plan. You've had COVID, you've had the ramifications that has had across the market and the economy. And in addition to that, over the course of a 5-year time span, attitudes change in the community, and we want to make sure that our comprehensive plan is a living document. It's one that accurately accounts for current realities in our community, current attitudes and preferences from our citizens. And so as part of this $150,000 request, a lot of that would go towards having a consultant come on board and serve as an extra set of hands for our planning and zoning department. A lot of that being setting up a robust public involvement process. Recall during the initial comprehensive plan where we had multiple town hall meetings, we had an online survey, as well as citizen stakeholder groups that we brought in to make sure that what we were putting out as our comprehensive plan for the Planning Commission to consider was something that took into account the needs and desires of our residents, our citizens. And so with any update that we do to that comprehensive plan, we want to do the same thing. We want to make sure that there is a good level of civic involvement, citizen participation in that. And the other aspect of that, in addition to the citizen participation, would be another area that I myself am not an expert in, or I come up a little short, and that is being able to illustrate the plan, being able to put the pictures, the diagrams, the images that really make the plan come to life. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and we want to make sure that with any update that we provide, we have the illustration to go along with it to fully convey the vision that the citizens have given us as part of that planning effort. So in addition to that, we do have a $5,000 request with our new GIS manager. The first thing out of the gate, in addition to being a sponge like our marketing director, just taking it in what our needs are. The first thing that they are going to tackle is developing a GIS master plan. How our GIS as a very powerful tool can be used to help the various departments across the city. We've already seen with his time on board being able to assist Park and Recreation with some of their displaying information about various parks in the lead up to the SEC tournament. We also want to continue work with the engineering department. We're working with them to use GIS to help plan out paving schedules. And so it's a tool that not only allows for a good display of information, but you can actually analyze a lot of data and information. And with Robert Presley on board, I'm confident that we're going to get our GIS program in a position to where it is fully utilized across all departments. The last item that I do have a position request for a zoning administrator, a grade 12 position that would fill some gaps that we have in the planning and zoning apparatus for the city. One of the critical features of this position would be to analyze any and all plans that come in, site civil plans, subdivision plans, as well as house plans and other permit plans for zoning compliance. Up to this point, the city in large part has put that requirement or that responsibility on our plans examiners with the building department. Our building department plans examiners are looking at plans, and they are having to cover quite a bit of ground when it comes to code. You know, their primary focus is on whatever is coming before them meeting the building code. And you guys have seen the building code, you've adopted it, it's thick. So having somebody on board with more of a zoning expertise would help fill some gaps that we have noticed as we go through and administer those permit applications. In addition to applications for certificates of occupancy, making sure that the businesses that we are giving COs and businesses licenses to are actually permitted in the zoning districts that they're going in. That's a gap that we currently have. In addition to that, they would help manage the code enforcement apparatus. We'd have additional set of hands on deck for that. I know that's been something that this council's certainly taken notice of, the amount of work that our code enforcement officers do. And this would help bring some scale to that division, as well as some guidance and leadership. That's all I have.
Right on time. Wow. Okay. Let's see if technology can outdo that.
Hey, Curt, Wendy mentioned that she needs to get a copy of everything that's being handed out.
You can have one.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Council-elect, mayor-elect. So IT, I believe, starts on 345 in your budget proposal there. So I'm just going to pick up with the operating cost. We're looking at approximately $233,215 increase in comparison to last year's annual budget, which is right at 5%, which falls in line with the standard maintenance and hardware increase that we see every year. That also incorporates the additional software that different departments added last year as well, too. The two additional items that are listed in there, one's been modified. The crypto spike that's in there is listed at 60,000. I believe I reached out to finance last week. I believe it was 20,000 is what I said. So there's an actual reduction there. And then the other item that you're looking at there at 210,000, the COO, Blake, reached out to me and as well as the fleet director to look at fleet management software. And in the past, that would normally be, new software would be under a capital request, but this has been placed under operating, at least for the acquisition part of it as well, too. And so this would incorporate vehicle maintenance, asset maintenance, management, reporting, analytics as well. We've looked at several different software packages. Dustin and I have traveled and looked at several different ones. I think we have one that will actually benefit fleet, but will also benefit other areas like building inspections, building maintenance for asset management and tracking as well, too. So we think we can incorporate it into that as well, too. So that's for the operating side. Any questions? Okay. So the capital side, the first thing that's on the list there is GTACs. The GTACs are the MDTs, or the mobile data terminals that the police department uses. We replace those as a wholesale operation due to the way each officer has take-home vehicles. The previous CFO opted that we budget for those in portions of each year. So you'll notice there on that it's listed as year 4 of 5. So the total cost to replace those is estimated at $600,000. And so in years 1, 2, and 3, we approved the first $360,000 of that. Last year, we did not approve year 4 for the police department. It was deferred. So now we're looking at pushing those units or those devices to 6 years. So this year we'll be requesting year 4 of that, which is $120,000. With working with police IT and my staff, we feel like we can easily push those devices to 6 years. Much beyond that, and they start falling apart, and they're just not functional. So that's what that $120,000 is. The next line item is our firewalls. So for our security firewalls, we do those in a multi-year deal as well, too. By doing it in a multi-year deal, we save about 25% of cost, or we save about $85,000. And so that's been split up over 3 years as well, too. So this would be year 1 of 3 for the next renewal, which is $85,000. So the new items that we don't normally see that you're going to see there would be 8 network cards. They're $60,000. Those are network cards that are 100 gig network cards that will improve latency between City Hall and the PSC on how we do our backups, our network communications. Has a huge impact on overall efficiency in the way our systems work. After that is network switch upgrades. Our network has approximately 140 network switches. They have an average lifespan, maintenance support lifespan of about 5 to 6 years. We get about 12 to 13 years out of ours. That $85,000 will replace 10 to 12 of those devices, so right about 10% of our existing infrastructure fleet with that request. And then the last one is $85,000 for Exagrid. It is a storage maintenance disaster recovery appliance. We currently have one. that resides at the Public Safety Center. This would mirror that at City Hall for that disaster recovery model. Any questions about those? Okay.
All right, thank you.
Well, I'm not done,
Man,
but thanks.
all right.
The other item I gave you is just a description of a position that we've requested. We've actually requested that position last year as well. When I started in 2017, we had 10 FTEs in the IT department. We have 9 now. Police has 2.5 in IT. Fire has, Chief, what would you call that? 0.5? A half, so a 0.5 FTE. We had a study done in 2018, the city did, that said we should be at 18 FTEs, so we're substantially short of that. So the position that we're requesting a creation for is a information security position. This will deal with staff training, documentation, policies, cybersecurity, malware, risk management. So that ties into our insurance rates and stuff as well too inside of there. Recently, I'd say last 18 months, a local municipality had a cyber malware attack. I think the tangible cost was around 40 million. That does not include the intangible cost. So this is something I'd really like you to consider. I think it's a fiscally responsible, position to have in place. And that's what I have, guys.
Quick question from
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Cope. I was expecting to see a request in here for iPads for the city council.
It's already incorporated
It's
into my
already in
budget.
the-
Yes,
Great.
ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Let's move on to E911.
All right, good afternoon, members, city council-elect, and mayor-elect. Thank you for your time this afternoon. The 911 Center is the first point of contact for every emergency in Hoover and non-emergency. Our responsibility is to make sure citizens can always reach help and that our police officers and firefighters have the information they need to respond quickly, efficiently, and safely. To continue meeting that standard, we're requesting support for a series of capital projects that I'll go over in a moment. These aren't nice to haves. They're investments in reliability, safety, and accountability for the entire community. They also ensure we keep pace with evolving technology, and as you might imagine, including the growing role of artificial intelligence in the 911 Center. They are to ensure we keep pace so that Hoover remains at the forefront of modern emergency communications. So firstly, we gave you a department-specific book. We thought that might be helpful with a little bit of supplemental information. But working from your binder, annual contractual increase for tower rental, 5,153. We currently have 7 public safety radio towers in the city of Hoover. The city owns 3, and we lease 4 from Crown Castle. So we've added 8% from last year's lease number of 5,153 moving forward because we're contractually obligated. On operating, we're asking for additional $3,100 to send our public safety radio technician to the National APCO conference in Texas to keep abreast of any changes with the public safety radio network. So that's all of the additional operating that we're asking for. I'll get into the projects on capital. We have 16. Carpet replacement, $34,000. That was a FY25 ask. And I think, did you guys give them some photos? Okay. We asked for it and we weren't able to do it for whatever reason, but we went in and had carpet cleaning service clean it. We've had them clean it multiple times, but the bottom line is that was installed in 2007 when we moved to that new center, and it's worn out and it's beyond cleaning, be frank with you. So $34,000 for that, and that will replace the comm floor and the EOC above. UPS replacement, $154,000. This is a critical item that if you don't approve anything else, we got a really in desperate need of this, along with the SureGuard alarm receiver. We had an event in March, and I'll just tell you a little bit how this system works. It's a real large GE UPS in our back equipment room that has 80 batteries inside. We're running on it now. We run on it 24/7. So it's being fed by building power currently. But if something happens and we lose the Alabama Power feed, the huge generator behind the jail auto starts feeding the generator. It's transparent to the 911 operators. And the third level, if something happened and the generator didn't work right, we can run on batteries for 6 to 8 hours to give us time to get somebody in. All right. That being said, back in March, we had a failure with a power unit inside, and it went dark. So we had to evacuate and work out of our backup center here at City Hall. We found since that time, the parts are becoming obsolete, and it's going to be hard to acquire those. Again, that unit was installed when we moved in the building in 07, 08, so it's end of its life. Dispatcher console, again, a FY25 ask, $261,000. And when we say consoles, we're meaning the actual position furniture that each operator sits at. They're all configured the same. They have workstations that raise and lower to accommodate multiple monitors, ergonomically designed and so forth. So that would be, again, if we could get the carpet and those consoles approved, we could move our folks to City Hall, put down carpet, freshen up with some paint, put in new consoles, and then move back. So that's kind of the thought process. All right, in telecom call standards, $81,000 one time, and year 1 and 2, $9,000 annually. This software would provide structured, nationally recognized call-taking protocols. It would ensure consistent questioning, better information for responders, and compliance with state and national standards. So currently, each operator has a flip chart for emergency medical dispatch guide card instructions, CPR, childbirth, and so forth. This would put it into the electronic world, and it would add law enforcement and fire protocols as well. All right, Alad Tech scheduling, $11,000 per year. This would, again, we're on a manual system, developing schedules, on call, very time intensive. They'll tell you that it takes a lot of the time that we need to be doing other things, so that would automate that process. Frontline personnel management, $6,700 annually, would standardize our daily observation reports for training. It's modeled against the FTOs the police department does. We have CTOs, certified training officers, performance reviews, and complaint and commendation tracking. So obviously it would improve accountability and simplifies that documentation for future accreditation. Black box KM switches. Currently, the operators have multiple mice and keyboards at their workstation because they've got a world of software applications, CAD, radio, phone that they have to deal with. This would bring that all into one unit so they could control multiple systems with one keyboard and a mouse. Let's see, item number 8, prepared 911 platform. This is software, $159,000 for 1 year, $156,000 annually for 3 years. But we're actually we're a site that is trialing this software for the state 911 board. It's working well. It is AI. You can actually see it on the screen, both sides of the conversation. It's transcribing in real time what's being said by the caller, what's being said by the operator. So, and it's still in a learning mode. There's things that we're seeing that they could improve on, but we're trialing it for the state, but we would like to implement this as a permanent solution for our center. And there's also a feature for real-time language translation, any language, not emergency triage, so we could tell the system, hey, this AI would immediately know if they needed a certain department, and it would transparently transfer that call from 911 center to wherever we told it to go. So it would save resources. CAD data interface, enable our CAD system, links our call data with phone and radio recordings. It would increase our incident review capabilities. It puts it all together instead of having to check CAD, check the recorder, multiple places, time saver. ComSearch microwave protection. Project replaces a radio link to ensure consistent communication between towers, radio towers. And then we have items 13 and 14, fire radios, apparatus radios, 28,000, additional mobile radios needed for new fire trucks. Police portables, 72,000, 10 of those for new police hires. Mobile dispatch consoles, 128,000, that's for 2. And what we did in previous 2 years' budget, we have a console that we had to take the radio software from to make another position operational. It's gonna cost $150,000 to replace that, which is more than we ever thought. But in 2 previous budget cycles, we were approved for $37,250 each year for a total of $75,500, which is half of where we need to be. But Michael Cornwell, our radio technician, found out for $128,000, we could get 2 mobile units that does the exact same thing. They're actually on laptops, so we could put them at a position, we could bring them to City Hall, and now, when we're at City Hall, we lose the paging capability. This would give us that flexibility, or we could move it anywhere needed. Viper Core Services, $12,000 annually. That's a rough estimate because we're gonna get the core switch from Homewood, who no longer needs it, to Birmingham. It'd be the Birmingham, Hoover, and Trado Viper phone system. So this is for redundancy. So if they had a failure, they could work off our core and vice versa. All right, so in closing, these projects represent $1.1 million. While the cost is significant, the value is clear: reliable 911 operations, improved safety for first responder, and uninterrupted services to our citizens.
Well done. All right, Curt.
Thank you.
I think.
I made it in time. Got your report? Oh, thank you.
Does anybody have any laminated copies of the pictures in your stack when she was going through? Yeah. Yeah, she wants those back. All right, there you go.
I wasn't following? Yeah. Yeah, I was handout.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcia Vedito. I'm the Assistant Court Director, and I'm here on behalf of Susan Fuquay today to present the budget for the municipal court. You've been given the binder with our budget packet inside, and you'll notice the first 3 pages are just the bullet points that I'll be speaking about today. The remaining contents are tabbed with more detailed information. So the first page addresses our operating budget. The court is requesting a 15% increase in operating funds this year. This increase restores the 10% that was cut from the 2025 budget and adds only an additional 5%. This will help with, obviously, inflation, but we have higher caseloads, supplies, and training expenses. This also protects court funds from being supplanted and ensures their dedication to court operations. So this 15% increase will bring these funds to around $448,000. The next page highlights our top priority item and has been a top priority for the court for 8 years. And that is the renovation in the court referral area. I'm going to ask our court referral expert, Jason Harris, to step up and say a few words about that project and its importance with moving forward.
So the continued need for the court referral renovation centers around logistics and confidentiality. With the current structural arrangement, there are concerns with HIPAA confidentiality and the environment being conducive to proper handling of client cases that fosters rapport and trust. In the program, we address substance use, mental health, and other sensitive matters, putting them through counseling with us and through outside services. Proper discussion of these matters is essential to client success and must be safeguarded. In the binder, the third page of the court referral tab, you'll see a quick overview of the current caseload as well as the recent additions we've made to the drug screening protocol and the substances that we're screening for. And space is also necessary to provide further resources that will support the client recovery.
As you can see, the updated project estimate for this court referral renovation is around $1.2 million. But we already have $560,000 set aside. So we're asking the council for an additional $620,000 in additional funds for that project. Other priorities include salary increases for the judge, our prosecutors, which has already been mentioned by Wendy in the city clerk's budget, and the public defenders. For the judge, we're requesting a 3% increase in his salary, which would make the new salary amount $98,581. And as Wendy stated, we are requesting a $1,000 per month increase for the lead prosecutor, making that new amount $87,000. And the establishment of the assistant prosecutor at $2,500 a month for a $30,000 total. And we've worked together with her on this. We are requesting a $1,000 per month increase for both the lead and assistant public defenders. This increase would bring their annual salaries to $72,000 and $60,000 respectively. Their compensation is offset by the collections from the Fair Trial Tax Fund also. Just a couple of other things. We would like to replace and upgrade some non-operational security cameras. That amount is a $14,000 request. And you'll see our technology and building services requests. These requests will be in those department budgets, but we wanted to mention them here so that council is aware. Technology upgrades include scanners, printers, signature pads, iPads, and cell phones. Most of that equipment dates back more than 10 years and is in dire need of replacement. The building services improvements include carpet and flooring in some of the offices, and more importantly, in the courtroom. Our carpet in the courtroom, you know, obviously gets a lot of traffic, heavy traffic, and it's been cleaned countless times and is beyond help. It smells bad. So we need to get that replaced. Any questions about anything?
I have one.
Okay.
Actually, I have one for Jason Harris.
Okay.
I'm just now looking at this book, Jason. There's a letter here or an email that you wrote in June of 2022 about the court renovation. And overall, it just says, unless this renovation is done, we constantly risk legal concerns regarding client privacy. So basically, our court currently, the way it's structured, until this gets taken care of to have privacy alleviated in HIPAA, we're out of compliance the past 8 years.
Correct, yes, sir. So before I was employed here at Hoover, I was actually the program administrator for the state at the court referral program. And so I wrote that letter when I came on board and hired here in reflection of what I would have written up the program here for if I had come to do a site visit when I was in charge for the state.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Just one quick comment. As far as replacing the carpet, I might recommend considering laminate flooring going
Yes.
forward.
I
Much
think that
cleaner
that's
and long-term.
what Susan has looked at, so a different flooring rather than carpet. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to Public Works next.
Good, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to start by saying, Councilman Lyda, Councilman Posey, thank you for your service. Councilman McClinton, Councilman Middlebrooks, Councilman Murphy, Council Lady Driver, thank you for your continued service. Council Lady-elect Lovell and Councilman-elect Schultz and Mayor-elect Durzis, congratulations. Okay. Operating, I'm asking for an additional $8,000 for safety training, proper equipment use, and professional development. I need an additional $17,000 for the Sweeper Corporation of America sweeping contract. That's a bid contract, so we need that additional $17,000 for that funding. Portable restroom bid, there is funding in place for that, but I just wanted to note that that's a recent bid that we had and that we need to make sure that that funding is available for those. Also a 5% CPI for Amwaste, that's according to their contract. That's $484,000, $400,084, $183.85. And then our total ongoing operating requests are $799,695. I do want to back up for a moment and note that my binder doesn't just include budget stuff in there. I also have an organizational chart for all of you so you can understand how our department functions, because we do have park maintenance. We do have HUF, which is Hoover Urban Forestry. It's a branch of park maintenance, but it kind of gives you an understanding and some insight into how our department works. A lot of people don't understand all the different moving parts and pieces that we have going on there. On the next page, as far as budget requests goes, that's going to be personnel requests and upgrades. Requesting 4 new crew workers. These are deficiencies that need to be filled. When I started working here in 2003, the Public Works Department proper had 32 employees in it. We're currently functioning with 26 employees in our department. We have 51 square miles of city that spans essentially from Bessemer and Helena to almost Leeds on the eastern side. So that's a lot of city to cover with very few people, and I think we do great with what we have, but we most definitely need more people. There's also, these are delayed for discussion, but the upgrades for the crew workers to crew leaders. And then we also have upgrade our senior equipment operators from a pay grade 6 to a pay grade 7. These are the guys that are out there in the fields that are operating the equipment and things like that. I think they need to be upgraded based on the skill set that they have and what's required for them to be able to do that. And then lastly, and this is combined, the upgrade 8 public works supervisors and park maintenance supervisors from a pay grade 8 to a pay grade 9. And then you can see under there, there's 2 horticultural specialist seniors to horticultural supervisors. They're all doing the same scope of work, but the 2 at the bottom just have different job titles. But that would move those up to levels that are according to other supervisors here within the city. So the last page is the largest request that we have, and that's equipment. We're working with an aged fleet. My guys, they're daily drivers. Some of them are 98 and 99 models. And these are vehicles that they're going to and from the job sites on a daily basis. You know, unfortunately, Public Works, the equipment we use, a lot of it's specialized, so it's really costly to replace these. And I don't expect to get them all this year, but it needs to be on the radar for everybody to understand the needs that we have, and they don't go unnoticed. I will say that on Public Works equipment, the last 2 items, the roller packer and the asphalt paver, that's kind of a combo deal. You can't really have one without the other. So should funding be provided for that, that would be something that needed to be purchased together. Any questions?
2 quick comments. As far as all your trucks, I know you just said you don't expect to get them all. I expect you will, but I just wanted to make sure you give Mayor-elect Durzis and let him know your top priorities.
Sure.
For him to propose.
Everything in this binder, as far as equipment goes, the way I have it listed is in descending order from top priority, so.
Very good. And on ongoing operation requests, in my book, it has a 8% CPI increase for garbage at 774.
No, sorry, you shouldn't, it's only 5%. It's 5%. They were requesting 8, but 5% is what they're getting per the contract.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next up is library.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, council members and council members-elect, mayor-elect. Thank you so much for your continued support of the Hoover Public Library, one of the best libraries in the state of Alabama, if not the nation. Because of your commitment, the library is one of the most well-loved institutions in Hoover. Nearly 400,000 people walk through our doors each year, and we circulate about 1.4 million items. Families, students, job seekers, and lifelong learners all depend on us. But we face a growing challenge. Over the past decade, circulation of physical materials has dropped by 38%, while digital usage has skyrocketed by 667%. Digital resources are far more expensive, and last year's 10% budget cut, particularly to materials, made it very difficult for us to keep up. Our top priority is restoring that cut and adding an increase of 5%, totaling $93,000. We are also asking for the return of training and travel funds, which we cut last year to protect patrons from reduced services. We felt like this was a good short-term solution to an unexpected cut, but it was not something that we could continue indefinitely. We must invest in staff if we want to continue to lead in excellence and innovation. At the same time, we see a tremendous opportunity to reshape the library for the future. Our building was built for a different era, and community expectations have changed. With input from our space study that we did a couple of years ago and the rise of digital use, we know that a building renovation could open doors to new community services, more arts programming, more flexible spaces, and more room for people to read, work, and learn together. That's why we're asking for an investment in renovation and a branch library architectural plan, timed with our 5-year strategic planning process, which will take place during this fiscal year. Side note, when I was an intern in 1999, we did a patron survey, and one of the most requested items was a branch location on the east side of Hoover. It's 26 years later, we still do not have that branch location. The city of Vestavia, which is not as large as Hoover, is getting a branch library in Liberty Park, so just putting that out there. Alongside this, we request a handful of investments: portable study pods, updated furnishings for our boardroom, an upgraded security system, software to better track demographics, and usage for our strategic planning process, and one personnel adjustment and technology to reflect higher level responsibilities. We are also asking for funding to feed school-age kids during the summer, a responsibility we took on since the city schools lost federal funding for their summer lunch program several years ago. In short, the library is thriving thanks to you, but to continue meeting the community's needs, we must restore last year's cut and plan for the future together. Over the coming weeks, both Amanda and I will be happy to answer more questions, and we hope you have a good day. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
All right, up next is police.
Almost. All riding on Chief McDuffie. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. Before I begin, I'd like to say thank you very much to each one of y'all for the support that we as a police department have always enjoyed from the council. I've worked in cities that do not have that luxury of a supportive city council. So I want to acknowledge that and let y'all know how much we appreciate it. It's a privilege, and we thank you. We are asking in our operating request for this year some additional funds. These will be ongoing requests. First would be to pay for our Paladin drone, which is the one that's on top of this building that can be flown remotely by an operator sitting in his living room if he needs to. We purchased that drone and the service that comes with it last year out of our inmate funds, hoping that it would prove to be as useful as we thought it would. It has been that and then some. So this year we're asking for the city to pick up that $54,000, which is what it would require to maintain that one and keep it in service this year, and also to purchase an additional one. The purchase of a second one would be less from Paladin to get a second one. It would be $35,000 for the second one that we would like in this coming budget. $15,000 worth of prep work would probably need to be done to the site where it would be located. We would like to locate it on the western end of our city, which has grown exponentially with population and development. There's a couple of fire station options out there to have it housed at. We need it to be housed at a facility that has 24/7 staffing so that it can't be tampered with. So probably $15,000 worth of site work there. That would bring a total of $104,000 for that. However, our brothers in the fire department have graciously offered to pay $25,000 of that cost. So we would be asking not for the $65,000 there, but $79,000. We got some updated quotes that had updated figures on it. So that's what we would be asking for the ongoing for our current Paladin drone and a second Paladin drone. We would also be asking for funds to send 8 new officers in this coming year through the academy. That's $4,200 cost for each one, $700 for tuition, and $3,500 for room and board. That would be a total of $33,600. And these would be one-time additions to our operating expense. We are asking for, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, 5 new police officer positions. If approved, we would like to outfit them with $13,500 of initial equipment for each officer, which comes to the total of $67,500. We are asking for $350,000 for our Axon body cameras. We have a current contract with them. We purchased them in anticipation of getting an award, a federal grant to pay for that. There was a press conference saying we had been awarded the money, and I think it fell victim to DOGE. So we need to pay for years 2, 3, 4, and 5 of that at a rate of $350,000. The cameras that we had are outdated. The technology has improved, has increased. They're not supported anymore. When they break down, we're forced to buy the new ones. So that $350 will get us for the years 2, 3, 4, and 5 of our current contract. And we have a figure here for a physical security system update project. We have inherited the physical security for all the buildings, the electronic doors, the setting of timers, all the camera systems, and the city has grown quite a lot in the time that I have been here. We've added a lot more buildings. Some had existing camera systems, some had existing door security systems. None of them are compatible with the new ones that we have. Basically, our footprint right now for access control doors is 9 city buildings, 12 locations that include the Galleria substation have never been fully brought online or updated. Bluff Park substation has not, and the 280 substation has not. There's 33 master door control panels located in all of the city buildings scattered throughout the city that some have failed, some are in the process of failing, but all are in the need of being updated or replaced. And we have 438 active doors with electronic locks that someone, for example, this building on the weekends when there's an event going on, someone has to log into the system to override it and unlock doors and grant access to. This also includes the cameras. Again, there's 9 city building locations that have cameras, 14 servage stores, 310 cameras approximately citywide right now, and that is ever expanding. Again, as we bring new facilities on, they need cameras as well. The very few, if any, of the fire stations have cameras. We may have 1 or 2 that have some exterior cameras. The lake house that is no more never had cameras. The Randall House has no cameras. Aldridge Garden has no cameras. Our water treatment facilities here have no cameras. And again, as mentioned, our police substations have no cameras. So as our footprint expands, as NCFI expands and takes over more public safety center, other cameras and other door systems have to be reconfigured. So this is something that's probably been needed for a very long time. It's going to need to be funded at some point, and everything brought under one envelope, one system, and one common software package. In terms of new positions, again, I'd like to start with the bottom of that page and talk about the physical security specialist first. We're asking for a civilian physical security specialist to take over management of those doors, of those camera systems and all. Currently, that is being manned by a police sergeant who has many other duties. He's also assigned to, as our intel specialist, to the MAC unit downtown. He's an EOD, explosive ordnance specialist, an intel specialist, and also one of our drone pilots. He's wearing an awful lot of hats, and just managing the doors and cameras and upgrading those systems is a full-time job in and of itself. So we would like to add a civilian position to take that over, who has some specialty training in that particular area. We are asking for 5 police officer positions in this new budget. I gave you some handouts that sort of describe why. On the first page of the handout, of the 25 most heavily populated cities in the state of Alabama, Hoover is number 6. We currently have 191 sworn positions. Technically, it's 192, but one of those slots is occupied by our civilian crime analyst right now. The second page, if you look at that, we are, of the 25 largest cities in the state of Alabama, we are 5th in terms of residents per square mile. And on the next page of that, in terms of officers per 1,000 residents, we are 18th. Even though we're 6th in population, 5th in residents per square mile, we're only 18th in terms of officers per 1,000 residents. Just to get us to the midpoint, if we were at position number 13, would require us to have 226 sworn positions, which that's 35 more than we have now. We know no one would approve 35 officers being hired at one time, but we would like to at least start taking the baby steps in that direction and add 5 more. And on the last page, you can see this is our response times per beats in the cities. The darker shades are the beats that take the longest average time for our officers to get a call for service. All of those with the longest time are over on the western side of the city, which has grown, like I said, exponentially, hence why we would like to have a drone there as well. Oftentimes, our drone is our first officer on the scene on a lot of calls. They are able to get there and ahead of the officer who's coming to answer the call and relay updated information. I think a couple of weeks ago, we were able to, there was a brush fire, I think along the Cahaba behind an apartment complex, and our drone was able to get there and actually help guide the fire department personnel and apparatus in to the access point. We are asking for some position upgrades. We would like to upgrade our assistant chief's position, our executive officer position, and our 3 captains' positions. Since the last salary study that we had that was implemented in 2018, we have, after that was implemented, we've upgraded officer starting pay, we've upgraded our sergeant's pay, and we've upgraded our lieutenant's pay. Our captains and above, our higher ranks have not been adjusted since that time, and consequently have fallen, in some cases, significantly behind the competing agencies that we recruit against. Most of the departments in our area are serviced by the Jefferson County Personnel Board. Some are not. I think Trustful just came out of the Personnel Board system. We are not, but of those that are covered by the Jefferson County Personnel Board system, most of them have gotten very robust pay raises and cost of living increases over the last half decade or so that has, in many cases, passed us in those ranks. For example, Mountain Brook upper ranks make an average of about $14,000 a year more than ours do. Birmingham is now about $13,000 more, Vestavia about $3,000 more, Jefferson County Sheriff's Office about $2,000 more, and those two passed us this past year. Trustful is about $300 below us, and Homewood and Shelby County are about another $1,000 below that. And if they get the kind of robust cost of living increases this year that they have been getting, they too will probably pass us. I think we have an exceptional command staff, and Chief has built an exceptional department. Our 3 captains and assistant chief and executive officer alone combined have well over 100 years of law enforcement experience. Chief may have that many by himself, I don't know. So, but I think it's time that, I'm sure I'll pay for that comment. So, but I think it's time that we do look at bumping up our upper ranks of pay to keep the quality and the experience that we have, to keep it in place. We are also asking for our administrative assistant to be upgraded from a pay grade 4 to a pay grade 6. She comes to us from the private sector with a great deal of administrative experience and background before that. She does way more than just a receptionist does. She is the first point of contact for a lot of people that come into this building. Her skill level, I use her frequently to help me prepare for projects and work on presentations. And earlier this year, Human Resources posted a position for administrative assistant senior receptionist in the city clerk's office as a part-time position at a pay grade 6. She does all of those responsibilities of that position in addition to the things that I put on her desk to take care of for me, and some that the executive officer does as well. So for this reason, we would ask that she be bumped up to the pay grade of pay grade 6. And we're also asking for our administrative services supervisor to be bumped up from a pay grade 9 to a pay grade 10. She's been in this position for a little over 3 years with the police department and has grown in her skill level and certainly her responsibility level a whole lot during that time. She's contributing way more than her current title requires her to do. She does help manage special projects for the chief's office, assist in budget preparation every year, and also our grants monitoring, maintains dates of when things are due and when reporting deadlines have to be made. Additionally, she's made significant contributions to our community as our community relations liaison, fostering partnerships with local charitable organizations like our annual Wings of Hope program, like our Breast Cancer Awareness Month, like our Autism Awareness. She does way more than her job level requires and does it very admirably. So we would request, I know in the document it has her going from a pay grade 9 to a pay grade 11. That was a typo. We asked it to be a pay grade 10. So the change in salary that's listed there is $14,700 and change. Actually should just be $9,630.40. And the benefits change would be $2,335.37 for a total actual change in compensation of $11,965.77. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Just a brief clarification about the body cameras
Yes, ma'am.
contract. Are we required to pay for 4 years in advance, or why would we pay for years 2 through 5 right now?
I'm not sure of that. I think it is a 5-year deal each time that they replace, because they upgrade their technology and hardware that goes with it every 5 years. Again, we paid for the first. I think it was out of federal inmate funds. I'm not certain of that. In anticipation, again, after we had told we were awarded the grant, and then that didn't come through, so now we have to pick up the next 4 years.
Thanks.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we're going to take a break. I'm going to hand off to Casey, and he's going to run the rest of the meeting, and a couple of us are going to step out for the remainder. So let's take a break.